Welcome to this virtual tour of the Westport River, a stunning and ecologically rich waterway with two distinct branches, the east and west. For anyone who hasn't visited this estuary, we welcome you. For those who have seen the river many times, we will be able to share with you a unique Osprey eye view here today. The east branch is the longer of the two, home to the expansive Let Marsh. This area teems with wildlife, including herons, cormorants, egrets, and even the occasional eagle. The West Branch is shorter and shallower, featuring a unique network of salt marsh islands. Unfortunately, these vital ecosystems are facing significant damage and degradation. Please join us as we explore the beauty and the challenges of this incredible river system, starting with a closer look at the lower West Branch.
The salt marshes that we see behind us are an example of island salt marshes that we see throughout the Westport River, and they are critically important to the health of the river. They help filter pollution out of the water to help keep it clean. They are a nursery ground for a number of species. Right now behind us you can see a bunch of great egrets that have been taking advantage of the salt marshes all summer. They feed here, they rest here, and then in addition to that, the salt marshes are also resting places for birds that are migrating. We're really fortunate to have them because of the abundance of wildlife they bring to the river, and again, because they help keep the river clean. Right now, they're starting to look so beautiful in their fall colors, just like the deciduous trees that you see behind me too. As the days get a little shorter and the weather starts getting cooler, these plants start to lose their chlorophyll, which is what causes that vibrant green color. And then it shows those underlying pigments underneath, so the oranges and yellows that we start to see in the fall. Equally as beautiful in the fall as they are in the summertime.
While challenges persist, some areas of the river remain undeveloped, offering hope for preservation and environmental health in the river.
Salt marshes are really important during major storm events because they have the capability of storing lots and lots of water. What that means is that there would be less water going up into the home properties of people, preventing even more damage to their house that could have happened if the salt marshes weren't present. What's happening right now is due to climate change. As the sea levels are rising, it's also causing the levels of water to rise inside the Westport River. These plants have very special adaptations. They can get covered by salt water, and that salt goes into the body of the plant, and then during low tides, those plants have a chance to recover and release some of that salt. But now, with the tides being even higher, the salt marshes are staying underwater even longer, so they don't have enough time to expel all that salt. So it's weakening our salt marshes, and we're losing some of them. And unfortunately, in the years ahead, it sounds like we're going to be losing quite a bit more. Right now, we're in front of the lee side of the Westport River, where there's very little development, actually no development, and all this property behind us is going to be protected, which is really wonderful news for the river. But if you look along the coastline, you'll be able to see Spartina alterniflora, and that's salt marsh grass. This is the prime example of when you don't have revetments, stone walls, soil is able to accumulate, and those very important salt marsh plants are able to start growing. And again, those are critically important for the health of the river because of their storm protection and how they serve as a wildlife habitat and how they clean our river.
Let's explore another key player in the river's ecosystem, oysters. These natural water filters improve water quality by removing excess nitrogen, the river's biggest pollutant. Most of the nitrogen comes from human activities like septic systems, runoff from roads and lawns, and fertilizers from lawns and farms. By filtering out nitrogen, oysters play a crucial role in keeping the river healthy and thriving.
The reason oysters are really important for the river, not only for economics, but also to keep the river clean. They are filter feeders, which means they are taking all the water and everything else that's in it as they draw out their food, and they're expelling clean water. So it's a very important industry for this community.
This is one of the two oyster farms within the river. There's another one outside just east of Gooseberry. And if you look out here, you see all these buoys on the surface. They're all attached to cages that contain the juvenile oysters. When they get of legal size, they get sorted out on one of these two little floating docks over here. What I find interesting about the aquaculture is that it coexists with a wild oyster fishery. We still have wild oysters up in the northern extent of the East Branch, up by Hicks Bridge. And what I love about it, being an older fisherman, I always thought that aquaculture was a bit of a threat. Just feel, from a fisherman's point of view, that aquaculture and wild oysters can coexist. And that's good for the river. The more oysters in the river, the better the quality of the water inside the river. I think we found, and I think the Watershed Alliance has found, that oysters do a lot to filter out the salt water that flushes in and out of the river here. And that can only be a good thing.
It's fascinating how both aquaculture and natural ecosystems can work together to benefit the river. Let's focus on the osprey, also called the fishhawk, a remarkable bird that draws the admiration of visitors with its expert fishing and diving abilities. During the warmer months, ospreys nest in this environment, serving as a living example of wildlife recovery after near extinction. Their return is a testament to the resilience of nature and a powerful reminder of the importance of conservation.
There are 90 nesting pairs on the east and west branch of the Westport River and another 18 nesting pairs on Allen's Pond Wildlife Sanctuary. There are even more than just that, but that is just what we monitor. They continue to nest in natural habitats that we don't construct for them. We're not looking to add any more platforms so that we can compare data year to year. Back in the late 1960s and early 70s, pesticide was used known as DDT that ultimately imperiled a lot of different avian species, notably osprey, peregrine falcons, bald eagles. DDT would cause the eggs to become very fragile and ultimately infertile. So adult osprey were able to breed and lay their eggs, but for the most part, these eggs would be unviable and there wouldn't be any young produced from them. There were only roughly 10 breeding pairs in the state of Massachusetts at that time. But then in 1972, when the pesticide was banned, some individuals in Westport were able to acquire ospreys, adults from Chesapeake Bay region that were then brought to the Westport River and allowed to nest on artificial wooden platforms that were constructed by conservationists.
This river is a unique system shaped by the balance between nature and human impact. It highlights how human activity can both harm and shape ecosystems positively, reminding us of the necessity for thoughtful stewardship.
This is Hicks Bridge. This is Hicks Bridge Road. Cuts across here. Before there was a bridge here, you'd have to go by horse or horse-driven buggy all the way to the head of Westport, where the river kind of narrows down to virtually nothing. First bridge that was built in the 1700s was a wooden construction with granite pillars. It was actually a toll road. And during a storm, the wooden bridge got totally destroyed. The granite piers are still in the water down here on both sides of the bridge. 2015, this current bridge was built here.
Thank you for joining the Westport River Watershed Alliance on this virtual tour of the Westport River, a unique and vital estuary. We've explored its two branches, the expansive East Branch with the thriving Let Marsh, and the West Branch with its vital but threatened salt marsh islands. From shorebirds like herons and ospreys to oysters and spartina grass, this river is home to diverse wildlife and plays an essential role in supporting the environment. We encourage conservationists, families, and those with a passion for learning to visit the Westport River, understand its ecosystems, and discover why protecting this extraordinary resource is essential for future generations.